What's going on, everybody? Kevin Schoon here, creator of MyBottomDollar.com blog. It's a site dedicated to discussing and informing people about wealth building strategies and helping them improve their personal finances. Right now, it's a hot and humid day here in Syracuse, so I'm trying to keep it cool here sitting in my living room. Thought I'd take the time out and probably drop my first video. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe once this video is done. I like to get some of your feedback, so don't be shy. I love constructive criticism, so feel free to leave your opinion. Just a little bit about myself. I started investing around the age of 23. You know, I was sitting in my living room one day, and I was tired of being broke, and I was trying to figure out what was the best way to improve my personal finances and just my lifestyle in general. So, you know, I just started doing some research and looking up other notable investors like Peter Lynch, Warren Buffett, you know, inspirational motivators like Tony Robbins and Gary Vaynerchuk, those type of people. And it kind of got me, you know, inspired and motivated to start my own little group called the Bay Group, which is just a partnership that I started with a friend of mine where we invest money into individual stocks right now. I'm also a treasurer. I'm on the board of directors. I'm the treasurer on the board for a semi-pro football team here in Syracuse. Season's actually about to start, so make sure you get your season tickets. Yeah, and I'm also an accountant. So with that being said, that's just some of my credentials. What prompted me to create this video, though, is that I'm getting with my discussions with people in day to day, you know, a lot of people I'm realizing have no clue about what personal finance is or why it should even matter. So me being informed, I always look to give them some kind of jewel, and I'm realizing that this is like a mass problem. You know, there's a lot of people out there that provide insight, but sometimes I think the practicality is lost because, you know, it's more about the sale and getting you to buy in than it is about actually helping you improve your situation. So, you know, I took on the notable task of, you know, helping my people and people that are less fortunate that have no direction regarding finance and seeing if I can't give them some kind of lifeline to rely on, you know, so that way they can improve their finances, thereby improving their family's circumstances and, you know, changing their family legacy forever, you know. But before I could do that, I understood that before you could provide an answer for people, you got to have it for yourself. So I did the necessary diligence to make sure I was well informed on the subject before going out and discussing it or claiming to be any kind of knowledgeable person on the matter. I won't say expert because every day I'm still learning, but, you know, as I learn, I make sure I share. You know, so that's one of the reasons I prompted to do this video. You know, also understanding that, you know, African Americans, you know, not to make it necessarily a race thing, but, you know, just from statistical data and just facts that African Americans have a net worth of $11,000, and the average household for the white family is actually $111,000, which is 13 times greater. And his African Americans and Latinos being, you know, the lower side of that spectrum, you know, there's a cause for alarm. So, you know, my demographic that I'm mainly talking to be honest, is the African American Latino ethnicities. So, you know, that's not to say that anybody else can't, you know, learn or take a jewel from this, but if anybody, if there's any question about that, or, you know, if you're wondering why I may seem like it's kind of one-sided like that, that's who I'm talking to, you know. So these tips are for people who are, you know, less fortunate, who come from the same areas and backgrounds that I come from, and because I have the knowledge, I want to make sure that it's understood. You know what I mean? That they have that understanding and that somehow, some way, they know that it's possible and they can change their own family circumstances. You know, so one of the main topics I want to talk about was, you know, the difference between being rich and being wealthy. Because a lot of people seem to misconstrue the two. They either try to use them all and alternatively or alternate the terms rather, or they just use one just to generalize the whole picture. When it's actually, in fact, there's a difference. The difference is that being rich has everything to do with abundance, while wealth has everything to do with how well you allocate resources efficiently. Let me repeat that again. Being rich is all about abundance, meaning how much stuff you have of value, while wealth is how well you maintain that value efficiently. So judgment is the main characteristic of a person that's wealthy. They make the right choices. So before a person can begin to think about, that lavish lifestyle, they first must make sure that their mind is capable of making the necessary choices to get that guaranteed result. 70% of most lottery winners are broke within the 3 to 5 years is because they don't invest. They don't start to build wealth. They think because they have a lot of abundance that is going to outlast their lifetime, which is not true, because what happens is, most likely is, a wise man actually told me, it's something that one of those kind of gems that I kind of take to heart. He told me, if you want to know what somebody's going to do with $5,000, watch what they do with $500 or $50, and that's all you need to know. Most people, they feel like, you ask most people to say, yo, how much money you think would be enough for you to be happy? They'll say $1 million. But with the current rate of inflation and the price of goods going up, $1 million is not even enough to last you. Only good enough to last you about 30 years. So you still, let's say you made $1 million right now. If you had $1 million right now, you would still have to end up going back to work after that 30 years is up. So $1 million is not what it was 10, 15 years ago. So now you have to start to get into the habit of, okay, well, if $1 million ain't good enough, well, what the hell am I aiming for? And then that's that point where you have to start considering, this is where judgment comes into play. Okay, what kind of choices am I making? I'm on borrowed time. How can I improve my situation in the moment? And that starts by doing the knowledge. 78% of athletes go broke 5 years post-retirement because they so used to the fast money that they don't take time to invest and make the right choices to sustain them after their life. The problem with, and I don't like to generalize, but the common habit of people or people in poverty, or that are not considered wealthy, right, or less than middle class, is that they can't see beyond the moment. They can't see beyond how their actions may have more reactions, or more actions and more reactions, and how one choice can set off a whole chain of events that could alternatively change their whole future. African Americans are among the top ethnicity in regards to consumption. We are the main consumers of goods. What does that mean? That means that oftentimes we spend money, but we get no return on investment on which we buy. So these are things such as, Jordans. These are things such as cars. We're often renters. We're not big homeowners. Now, if you leave it up to Robert Kiyosaki, he'll say home ownership is a liability. So, do with that what you will. You can fall on either side of the coin with that. But regardless, the point is we acquire more debt than we actually have assets, making if you remember my first initial statement was that the average net worth of the African American family is $11,000. And the average income of white families is $111,000. That's as of 2013. So that's only 4 years ago. Only 4 years ago. African Americans are the main consumers. In order to build wealth, a person must realize that money cannot go out and not come back in. The goal to building wealth is having more money coming in than it is going out. Remember, my definition of wealth is your ability to allocate resources efficiently. So that means that you're able to take care of the things, the liabilities in your life and your circumstances without jeopardizing the welfare than been causing yourself material injury. So the first step to building wealth is making sure you make the right choices. Some tips that I begin to start is, figure out what you value most in life, right? The reason why I say that is because the thing that you value most in life will be the thing that will always set you back, right? So, for example, if the thing that you value is happiness, if happiness is the one thing that you value most in life, you'll always sacrifice something in the form of being happy. If money is the reason why you're happy, you'll sacrifice things for the sake of money and for the sake of happiness. So the first thing is to realize is, what do you value? Because that will put into perspective of how far you are behind the 8 ball. If you value appearance, if you value comfort, if you value luxury, right? Those things will set you back and keep you behind the 8 ball when it comes to building wealth. Why? Because these things do not increase in value. You'll be too busy consuming and not retaining, or indulging, or rather pulling in, right? The average millionaire has 7 streams of income. 7. So whether that's their regular job, whether that's stocks, bonds, businesses, loans. Yeah, you didn't know that you can loan other people money and collect interest on it, right? Intellectual property, real estate. These are ways that people generate secondary, third, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different ways to get money. If you wake up, oftentimes I always laugh, right? I scroll down my timeline, and the first thing I always see is somebody saying, oh, I'm up early, I'm on the grind because I want to get this money. The difference between the millionaire and the person that's not is that the millionaire does not trade their time for money. They figured out how to make money come to them with the least minimal effort. And that goes back to the 7 things that I listed prior, the 7 different streams of income. If you understand, there's only 24 hours in a day, which means that there's a cap on how much time you can actually expend, which means there's a cap on how much money you can get in a day. Now, let's say you work a regular job. Like, for example, your job, most people work an 8-hour shift. So 8 hours of your day is already allocated to somebody else's dream. That's your money. That 8 hours of your day is you trading your time for money. So you can't even get that back. The next 8 is dependent on what your lifestyle is post-work. If you got kids, you got school, you got time allocated to making sure you are successful in those things, or making sure those things are squared away. So that's more time eating into your money. Then you got to go to sleep. You can't not go to sleep. Otherwise, you'll just, crash and die. Go into a coma. Something like that. So you can't just, so that's 8 hours already go. So most of your day is spent taking care of other people and other things outside of the things that help improve your circumstances. So the first thing you have to do is to slowly find ways whereby you can start trading less of your time for money. Let's take, in my city, for example, music is a big thing. So you have a lot of people that wake up every day and they think posting on Facebook is trading, is them chasing their dream, or is a good ROI. So they'll post their link a million times, and that's like 3 hours gone because nothing's coming out of that. Not realizing that the actual thing of value is the fact that they're actually content creators, and they haven't sat and developed their platform to the point where people gravitate to them and will pay them for the content that they create. The minute you change your mind about the thing you're doing and what you're doing and how you perceive it, it'll give you a different outlook, and you're able to do something different. And you're able to benefit better and get your return on investment. So with that being said, The first thing you have to do is take a step back, and evaluate that thing of value. Once you figure out what you value most, decide if it's worth trading your time for money. If it's not, then you need to find another way or something. I know a lot of us aren't creative. A lot of people aren't creative, but they know people that are. Maybe you have a knack for figuring things out, and you could be of use to somebody that's creative. That's a partnership. Find that thing that makes you valuable and seek to exploit it. And the more you exploit that thing, the less time that you have to trade for your money, and that thing will be the thing that you're trading for money. That is the first step to building wealth. So, this is my first video. If you have any questions, please comment below. The link to my blog will be below. Like, share, negative criticism, positive criticism, however you feel. If you feel like I missed something, or if you want to add on to the conversation, feel free. But we have to begin to start helping each other. This cannot be, wealth is a team sport. Just make sure you draft right. Wealth is a team sport. Make sure you draft right. My name is Kevin Schoon. MyBottomDollar.com is the blog. I hope to hear from you. Have a good day.